Hello everyone, good morning. Myself Murali Reddy. I'm a DevOps consultant and solution architect. Now we are going to discussing about what is Dockerfile, why we use Dockerfile, and also what are the instructions is available in the Dockerfile. We can see that. Let's see that so that you will get some idea. So for that one, right here we have a DevOps 0 to Hero series, day 29. In day 29, what is Dockerfile and everything I have written here. We can go with one by one so that you will get some idea. First of all, what is Dockerfile? Dockerfile is the file used to build our own Docker images by providing some instructions. Example, you are working one of the organization. You have a microservice. There, you wanted to deploy that application in Kubernetes or ECS, or you wanted to run that particular application as a container. What you have to do, first we will be build that, whether it will be generate either jar or war file, and then we'll be write the Docker file. We'll be write the Docker file, and then we'll build the Docker image. It means like it is customized image, and then we'll be push that particular image to AWS ECR Docker Hub, and then we'll be use that particular image. It means if you want to be create the customized image, then what you have to do, we need to use the Docker file to create the Docker image. And the particular Dockerfile file name is Dockerfile. D is the capital Dockerfile. Inside the Dockerfile, will be declare the instructions. Depends on the particular instructions, it will be execute and it will be create the Docker image. And why Dockerfile is required, especially. So you know, right? We have lot of Docker images is available in the Docker Hub. Okay, Docker Hub. Let me show you that so that you'll get some idea. You can go to Google and just type it Docker Hub, and here you can see that hub.docker.com. So in this particular hub.docker.com, we have a lot of Docker images. Example, Tomcat image is there. There are multiple. Example, I'm going to here. I'm giving here Nginx. Okay, Nginx image is there. If you see here, Nginx images also there. Here we have a lot of predefined images available. But when it comes to our real time, we wanted to create the customized image. As I said earlier, if you have a microservice, you need to build the Docker image, right? So it means it is a customized image. It is not always always we can use existing image. The reason we always create the customized image only. So for that customized image, what we'll do, we'll be write the Docker file. Inside the Docker file, we'll be use that base image. Example, Nginx, Tomcat, okay, Java, JDK, anything. We can use that depends on our requirement. We'll be using it. Clear, right? Fine. And here there are multiple instructions available inside the Docker file. So if you want to be write the Docker file, if you want to be create the Docker image, what you have to do? First, we'll be create the file. File name is Dockerfile. D is the capital. Then what you have to do, we need to build, right? If you want to be build it, first we need to be write the Docker file. Inside the Docker file, we have to be write something, right? So for that one, in Docker, we have a instructions. Okay. Here you can see that there are multiple instructions available from instructions, maintainer, label, add, copy, CMD, entry point, env, arguments, expose, run, user, volume, work there. There are multiple instructions available. Here you have to remember one of the most important in real time and also interview level also one of the most important. Have you written the Docker file? You have to tell yes. How do you written? What are the instructions available? They may ask question. So you should be aware of. So we can go with one by one so that you will get some idea. There are multiple. First of all, first thing is Docker file syntax. How exactly it will be there? There are two kinds of blocks available. One is comment box. Example, you are writing the Docker file. If you want to be comment that one, right? What you can do, just you can give the hash and then you can write anything. It will be comment only. Example, if you see here, we have given here #1 print hello world. Whatever we mentioned that hash right before, it is a commented one. Second thing is instruction and the specific arguments. Example, if you see here, run is the one of the instruction in the Docker file, and we are giving echo hello Docker. Understand, right? So this is the Dockerfile syntax. Any questions so far? No, right? Fine. What is the next one? First of all, from instruction. This is the one of the most important instruction. And also when you're writing the Docker file, From instruction is the mandatory instruction. This particular from instruction will be define the base image. Will be define the base image. Example, if you see here, nginx colon latest. It means if you are writing the Docker file, you wanted to create the customized image. If you want to create the customized image, first you have to take the base image. The particular base image is from space nginx colon latest. We are giving that from space nginx colon latest. It means it will take the nginx colon latest image. It will be taken. Okay, this particular nginx colon latest, it is taking from Docker Hub only. In case if you have your own, right, you will be give it. Example, techworldwithmurali / nginx colon, the specific one will be defined. In case if you want to be take your images from your customized, your organization level image, right, we can define that. But in our practice purpose, just we are giving this nginx colon latest one. And coming to the maintainer, here you have to remember maintainer. If you want to be define that instructions about that author of who is created this particular image, everything we can define here. Example, maintainer administrator, maintainer admin @techworldwithmurali, maintainer DevOps engineer admin @techworldwithmurali.com. Here you have to remember one thing: maintainer instruction is deprecated in the latest version. In the latest version, deprecated. Okay, it is not mandatory to define this particular one. Instead of defining that maintainer, right, what we can do, we can use the label instruction as well. Coming to the label instruction, if you want to be define that label, I mean to say like metadata information, we can use this particular label instruction. Here we have a key value pair. Remember, label is a key value pair. Here you can see that label project is equal to example nginx static website, and label author who has built this particular one, example Murali, DevOps engineer, DevOps team, cloud ops team, cloud engineer, whatever you can mention the specific author. Okay, why we require this one? Why we require this one? Example, you have written the Docker file. Some other people, they may have some questions. Directly, they can reach out to us. Instead of defining that individual names, right, what we will do, right, will be define the team name. Okay, and the environment, if you want, you can define that environment also. Example, development, testing, production, pre-prod, whatever. Clear, right? Any questions now? Now, coming to the add instruction. If you want to be copy file directories, or if you want to be copy any tar file, zip file, right, what you can do, we can use this particular add instruction. From where to where we need to copy? From your local to inside the container. Once we build the Docker image, when you're running the container, right, inside the container, it is available. Okay, for that one, we can use the add instruction. In add instruction, we have two forms, guys. One is shell form, second one is executable form. One is shell form, second one is executable form. Here you have to remember, shell form usually for add instruction, 99% will be used the shell form only. Example, add index.html. I'm copying to example here, user share nginx/html. Okay, nginx/html. Here you have to remember, depends on you choose the Docker image, it will be decide the default path. Example, here I said default image is nginx. If you use the nginx, right, nginx default path is this particular user share nginx/html. Okay, this is the default path. And coming to the executable form, here you can see that add open close double quotation comma, this one will be defined like this. And again, I'm repeating, add instruction, we always go with the shell form only instead of executable form. Understand, right? Again, I'm repeating, add instruction. If you want to be copy the file directories or tar file, zip file, we can do that. And one more thing here, you have to remember, if you use the add instruction, if you have any tar file, if you are trying to copy your tar file to the inside the container, inside the container, automatically it will be extract. Example, maven.tar file, you are trying to copy to specific destination inside the container. Then what will happen, right? When you run the container, during that time, it will automatically extract that particular file. Understand, right? And coming to the copy instruction. Copy instruction, add instruction, same only, same process. If you want to be copy the files or directories, we can do same process only. Only difference is in add instruction, if you define the tar file, in destination, automatically it will be extract. But when it comes to the copy instruction, just if you define that maven.tar file example, in destination, just it will be copy, it won't be extract. That is the major difference. Understand, right? Understand, right? And also one of the most important question in interview level, hey Murali, what is the major difference between add instruction and copy instruction? You have to explain this one. Okay, fine. And here we can see that shell form. This particular copy instruction also, we always go with the shell form only. Copy index.html user slash share slash nginx slash html. Okay, and here you can see that executable form. This copy, we are copying this particular one. And highly recommend in this particular copy instruction also, we always use the shell form only. It is not mandatory to use shell form. We can also use executable form, but we'll be use the shell form only for copy instruction. Okay, clear, right? Any questions now? Fine. Now what is the next one? CMD instruction. CMD is nothing but CMD instruction is used to set the command to execute when running the container. If you're running the container, right, during that time, if you want to execute something, what you can do, we can use this particular CMD instruction. And also inside the Docker file, we can define only one CMD instruction. If you define more than one CMD instruction inside the Docker file, whatever latest one, it will be pick up. Example, you are writing the Docker file. Inside the Docker file, you can define the CMD instruction. If you define more than one CMD instruction inside the Docker file, whatever you mentioned, the latest one, right, that particular one will be utilized. I mean, it will affect. And also one more thing, in the CMD instruction, you can also, during the Docker runtime, you can pass the particular value as well, so that it will be override. Whatever example, in the CMD instruction, I have given the sleep value is 200 seconds. But in the runtime Docker run, sleep 300, what will happen? The 300 will be take. Whatever I mentioned inside the Docker file, it will be override. Okay, fine. Here also we have a shell form and executable form. And here, most important, this coming to the CMD, especially will be go with the executable form only. Okay, 99% will be use the executable form. And also inside the Docker file, either CMD or entry point. Entry point also same only. We always define in last line. In the last line only will be defined this particular CMD and entry point. Entry point also same, guys. It will be run under executable. And here also we have entry point. Also we have a shell form and executable form. This one also will be used the especially executable form only for this entry point and CMD. Only major difference is coming to the CMD and entry point. Major difference is inside the Docker file, we can define multiple entry points, but we can't define the multiple CMD. We can define, but it will take the latest CMD only. Second thing is, in CMD, during the runtime, we can pass that. So whatever we mentioned inside the Docker file, it will be override. But when it comes to the entry point, it won't. Just as it is, it will be execute. That is the major difference. So this is also one of the most important in interview level. What is the major difference between CMD and entry point? Okay, clear, right? Fine. What is the next one? Coming to the expose command. If you want to be expose that particular container port number, what you can do, we can use the expose instruction. Example, for default nginx port number is 80. Instead of running the 80, you wanted to expose to different port number, 8080, 8090. You wanted to change the port number. What you can do, during that time, we can use expose command. Okay, and here you can see that expose 80443 or 80 TCP 8080 UDP. Whatever you want, you can define. Especially, guys, we may define that expose port number for 80, 80, 80, 8090, depends on the particular whatever it took the base image. Okay, fine. And coming to the run instruction. Run instruction is nothing but if you want to be execute any commands top of the particular Docker image, what you can do, we can use the run command. Example, you are taking the base images nginx. You wanted to install the specific packages. You wanted to update the package. You wanted to install that specific one, VAM related one, everything. What you can do, will be use the run instruction. Okay, it means you took the base image. Inside the base image, you wanted to install something. Okay, you wanted to install the VAM. Okay, VAM. Okay, whatever. Some other commands you wanted, top command you wanted to install. Once you install, right, when you run the container, inside the container, whatever we install the packages, it is available there. Okay, and example here you can see that shell form, run instruction, apt get update. And here you have to remember, instead of writing individual lines, okay, you can directly define like this, run. It is a single line only. Okay, And here most advantage of running, declaring like this, right? Okay, if you define this run, this is a one line, this is a one line, this is a one line separate line, right? What is happen, right? It will create the multiple layers. Always recommend when you write the Docker file, wherever it is applicable, try to decrease the layers. Try to decrease the layers. Decrease the layers means you can write like this. Instead of writing individual, you can write like this so that it is single layer only. Okay, fine. And also here you can see that executable form, but I highly recommend 99% or not 99%, 100% will be use the run instruction shell form only. Clear, right? Any questions now? Fine. Coming to the volume instruction. If you want to be mount that particular volume to the Docker container from that particular Docker host file system, what you can do, we can give it. Example, volume/opt or volume specific path, USR share nginx HTML. It means whatever container inside the container, that particular path, we mount it to your Docker host. Docker host is nothing but your Docker server. Okay, clear, right? Understand, right? Here you have to remember, once you run the container, right, what will happen in your local, the particular local server, it will create the Docker volume. Inside the Docker volume, you can see that whatever inside the container. If the container is deleted, right, the particular data will be existing in this particular Docker volume. Okay, we can maintain the persistent data. If you want to be maintain the persistent data, what you can do, we can use the volume. The reality, right? When you're writing the Docker file, volume we may not be used much, but in interview level, very most important. And one more thing, remember, if you use the volume, right? The volume name is, it will give the random ID. It will give the random ID. But in case during the runtime, if you want to be give it Docker run command, you can give the -v and you can give the specific volume name, everything. Later, I will show you how do we do that one as well. Okay, fine. And coming to the work dir, if you want to set the working directory, example, you know, right, PWD is nothing but present working directory. Similarly, if you want to set the working directory when you are writing the Docker file, example, work dir, you give that user share nginx/html. After work dir, if you written anything, it is going to that particular path only. Example, add Naresh dot I have given. Dot means whatever we have in that particular path, we already set the working directory. If you give the dot, whatever Naresh file, it will be copied to the current directory. Current directory is nothing but whatever I gave that work dir, the particular path. Example, if you see here we gave that work dir, the particular user share nginx HTML. Now, after this command, right, what you will do, I can give add space, Naresh space. Instead of giving again this particular path, just I can give the dot, because before we have a working directory, we set to this particular path. It means later you don't require to given that, just give the dot means current directory. Okay, add space, Naresh space dot. Clear it? Any questions? Fine. What is the next command? env command. If you want to set the environment variables, okay, with the key values, what you can do, you can use this particular env command. Here you have to remember env instruction, whatever you are going to mention this particular env instruction, it is available during the build time. Build time means you have written the Docker file, you build the Docker image. During the build time is available, and also running the container time. Running the container time also, the particular whatever we mentioned that environment variables is available. Running the container means once you run the container, if you go and check inside the container, we can verify that the particular environment variables is available. Whatever we mentioned, example, site_dir, we can see it. Okay. And arguments, env both are same only to set the environment variables. Only difference is when you use the arguments, that whatever we mentioned, example version 1.0, this particular version is available during build time only. It won't be available running time. Running time means once run the container, that particular whatever we mentioned the arguments, it won't be available. Understand, right? That is the major difference. This is also one of the most important question in interview level. What is the difference between env and arguments? Okay, clear, right? Fine. Next one is user instruction. If you want to be switch the specific user, example, I'm taking the base image is nginx. Usually nginx is running the root user. Instead of running the root user, you wanted to switch to some other user. Then what you can do, you can use the user instruction. Here you can see that username column group name, user UID column group ID. Here you can see the specific one. Okay, clear, right? Any questions now? Now you understood that these are the user related instruction. And remember, depends on our use cases, we may use the user as well. But when you use the user instruction, the whatever you are going to mention the user should be exist already, or you can create the user, and then you can use this particular user instruction. Otherwise, what will happen is if you are not creating the user, if the user is not existing, if you use example user Jenkins, user Nginx, it will throw the error like that user is not available. Okay, when once we build the Docker image, that is fine. But when you're running the container, it will throw the error. That's why when you use this particular user instruction, the particular user should be existing inside that particular container already. Then only you have to use this particular one. Clear, right? Any questions? So these are the instructions available. Again, I'm repeating, just here we have a multiple instructions from maintainer, label, add, copy, CMD, entry point, env, arguments, expose, run, user, volume, worked here. And also we have on build instruction as well. We won't be used much. Just ignore that one. Okay, now you got idea, right? And again, I'm repeating, guys, one of the most important in real time and also interview level also. If you say, I'm not aware Dockerfile, writing the Dockerfile, they won't be hire you. Honestly, I'm telling, they won't be hire you. The reason, 99% of the organization, they have a microservices. If they wanted to deploy microservices, you should be aware of Dockerfile, writing the Dockerfile, creating the Docker image. Okay, if you say I'm not aware, no use, right? That's why they won't be hire you as well. Okay, clear, right? Any questions now? And also later sometime I will show you demo as well. How do we write the Dockerfile, everything. Just this video especially for covering what are the options available. You wanted to understand, right? Before going to see the Dockerfile, writing the Dockerfile demo, first you need to be understand. That's why I have covered the theory part. Later video, I will show you how do we write the Dockerfile as well. Clear, right? Now we are going to discussing about writing a Dockerfile. Part 1, we can see that. Let's see the demo so that we'll get some idea. And here we have a DevOps 0 to Hero series. And here I'm going to write that I will update the documentation as well in this writing a Dockerfile to build. Okay, we can see the demo so that we'll get some idea. So for that one, I have a one EC2 instance, that is a Docker server. And I already installed the Docker as well. Now what we can do, we can write the Dockerfile. Earlier video, we already discussed, right? What are the components is available in the Dockerfile? What are the instructions is available in the Dockerfile? Now I'm in the OPT directory, and then just I'm giving the LL command. Currently we have index.html, maven.tar file. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create the Dockerfile. VAM, D is a capital, okay? Dockerfile. So when you are writing the Dockerfile, first instruction is from instruction, right? As I said earlier, if you are trying to build new Docker image, you have to mention the base image. The base image will be declared in from instruction. Using from instruction will be declare the base image. Okay. Now here I'm giving that from, and then here I'm giving that. But then I'm taking the example is Nginx : later. Default it will take the latest only, and here I have declared the particular one. Okay, from Nginx : latest one. Clear, right? Any questions here? So now I have defined this base image. Using this base image, what we can do, right? We will be create a new Docker image based on our requirement. We'll be do the new Docker image. Example, I have taken that Nginx image. In your case, you can take any image. Like example, you can take the Tomcat image. You can take the Java image, JDK image, whatever you can take it. Okay. Example, I'm taking here Nginx : latest one I'm using. Now you can save this one. Shift to : WQ. Now it is saved it. Now if you go and check it here, right? Cat command, Dockerfile, and here you can see that the specific one from Nginx : latest one. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to build the Docker image. How do we do? Now you can give it Docker build command. Using Docker build command, and here I'm giving the dot. Dot is nothing but in the current directory. If you have any Dockerfile, D is capital Dockerfile, it will be read from there and it will build the Docker image. It will be build the Docker image. Remember this Docker build dot, you have to give it under wherever it is available, that particular Docker file. Okay. Now you can enter now. If you see here, it is build the Docker image. This is the first time it is cloning, right? That's why it is taking, right? If you see here from one by one, the from image, that is a docker.io, because we mentioned that Nginx : latest. If you don't have that image in your local, what will happen? It will be pulled from Docker Hub. Okay. Now it is done. And also here you can see that it is exporting layer and writing the image. That is a specific image as well. Clear, right? Now how do we check it? Once we build the Docker image, How do we check the whether Docker image is created or not? So for that one, if you go here, Docker images. If you go here, Docker images, here it is created. Repository name is none. Tag name is none, because when you are build the Docker image, during that time, I haven't given any image repository name and tag name. That's why it is showcasing the none. And here you can see that image ID. And here you can see the 4 weeks back it was created. And what is the size of that particular image? That is 192 MB. Here you may ask question, Murali, we have written the Docker file. We have written the Docker file. We took that from is a base image. So it should be a showcase here. Creating time is now, right? Why it is showcasing this one? Remember, if you are taking the base image, first if just you have written only one instruction, that is the base image. So default, whenever it was created that particular image, that image is only it will be displayed here. Okay, fine. Now we are build that particular one. I'm going to do that another one, that is a maintainer. Remember, maintainer is deprecated, but I'm going to explain. Maintainer is maintainer is deprecated, guys. Okay, but just I'm giving the Murali who is maintaining this particular Docker file. Example, I'm giving that Murali Reddy, or you can give that DevOps name, or you can give that specific team member, DevOps engineer, cloud engineer, SRE engineer, whatever. You can give it the specific team member, so that if they if they have any questions in this particular Docker file, right, they can directly reach out to the particular maintainer one. Okay, example I'm telling. Okay, now here we mentioned that maintainer. Again, I'm repeating, maintainer is deprecated in the latest one, but you can use it. Okay, now here you can see that we mentioned that maintainer, and here one more thing. Remember, whatever you have giving that left side of instructions, right? You can give either small letter or capital letters. That is fine, but highly recommend you can give the capital letters. Maintainer Murali Reddy. Now you can go here, shift:WQ. This one, sorry, shift:WQ. Now, if you go and check it here, right, Docker file, if you go and check it here, we have a maintainer that Murali Reddy. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to build again Docker build dot, and here I'm giving that -t or -hyphen tag. Anything is fine. -t or -hyphen tag. What is the usage of this one? If you want to tag the specific repository and the tag name, you can give the -t, and here you can give it. I'm giving that example nginx : okay, 2580. Example, I'm giving the tag name is, instead of giving the latest one, I'm giving the tag value is 2580. Example. Okay, now we can enter. And if you see here, I build the Docker image. Okay, I build the Docker image. Inside this Docker file, we mentioned that maintainer. If you see here we have a cached one. Cached one means it is taking from varlib Docker. Inside we have images there, it will be taking from there. It is already there. The particular first time we did, during that time it is downloaded from Docker Hub. The second time it won't go to the Docker Hub directly, it will be fetched from cached one only. Okay, it is fetched from cache only. Okay, where exactly that cache is available? Where exactly cache is available? Okay, now you can go here, varlib Docker. Okay, and then here we have a images. If you go here image, and here you can see that overlay. Here you can see that overlay, and here you can see that image ID under the layer DB. Okay, go to the layer DB, and here you can see the specific layer. Go to the shardcode, and here you can see that the specific layers as well. Understand that? It will be pulled from there. It will be take from cache only. Okay, first time when you are doing the first time, it will be download from internet. It means Docker Hub. Example, we mentioned that the nginx : latest. Okay, now you understood, right? When you do that first time, it will be run that particular one. If you do the same thing second time, right, it will be taking from cache. Okay, it won't be run again from scratch. Okay, clear, right? Now here I'm doing this Docker file, and again I'm going to run this Docker run Docker, not Docker run, Docker build dot -t or -hyphen tag and nginx : 2580. Now we can enter here. If you see here, it is exported. That is fine. It is cached one. Here you have to remember, guys, when you add the Docker file, when you add the maintainer, right, it won't be having any layer. Remember, usually older version, Docker 20 version, if you mention any of the example, if you mention from me, right, this is the one of the layer. If you mention the maintainer, this is the one of the layer. But in the latest version, even though if you define that maintainer it is not taking as a layer. Okay, it is, if you see here, catched one, it is showcasing that only the from image, it is catched one. Okay, and understand, right? Clear, right? Now it is created image. Now you can go ahead and check it whether the whatever we mentioned, the tag name is came or not. If you see here, Nginx 2580, still it is showcasing 4 weeks ago. The reason we took the base image, and also whatever mentioned that maintainer, it is not taking as a layer. Okay, that's why it is showcasing that. Okay, fine. What is the next one? I'm going to define that Dockerfile, and go to the insert mode. And here, what I'm doing here, right? I'm giving the label. You can give small letters or capital letters. Highly recommend, right? Highly recommend capital letters only. Highly recommend capital letters. Here we mention that label. Label is nothing but if you want to be mention the metadata information about the specific Docker image will be declared. Example, I'm telling author. Who is written this particular one? Author. Example, I'm giving here Mule Muralidhar Reddy. Mule Muralidhar Reddy. And I'm giving here one more label. You can give a number of labels, guys. Okay. And here team. And just an example, I'm giving that. Don't give the space. You have to give the this one DevOps. Okay. We have mentioned that from maintainer labels. Usually in the Docker 20 version, it is considered as a from is a one layer, maintainer is a one layer, label another label is one layer. We have a total 4 layers. But when it comes to the latest version, right, the particular labels and maintenance, it is not taking as a layers. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to run this particular command, docker build dot -t nginx colon 2580. If you see here, what has happened? Dockerfile error unknown instruction label. Oh, sorry, I mentioned the wrong one here. Go to the VAM Dockerfile. And one more thing, remember, when you open the Dockerfile, right, when you are writing the Dockerfile, if you mention the wrong, right, it will showcase that this particular color. If you written the correct one, right, it will show that what is that? Yellow color. Okay, I can insert mode label. You can give smaller capital letter, anything is fine, guys, but highly recommend capital letters only. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to save this one again. Save this. I'm going to run this command. Docker build dot -t means we are giving the tag nginx colon 2580. If you see here, even though if you mention the 3 layers, 4 layers, totally 4 lines of instructions, right? Even though if you mention that one, still it is showcasing that only one by one. Only one by one. Remaining 3, whatever we mentioned, the maintenance labels are not taking as a layer. Okay, still exist, but still it is not taking. Okay. Now if you go and check it here, Docker images. If you go and check it here, Docker images. If you go and check it here, Docker images, image is created. Well and good. New image ID is generated. That is fine. Still, it is showcasing that 4 weeks ago only. 4 weeks ago only. Understand, right? When you do added any maintainer labels, everything, right, it will create the new image ID, guys. It will create the new image ID. If you do any changes, small change also, when you're trying to build it, right, it will create the new image ID. That is a unique ID. Okay. And here you can see that repository name, that is the Nginx, tag name is 250. This is the image ID. When it was created, what is the size of the particular one? Okay. Now you got it, right? Now we have written that one is from maintainer label. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the add instruction. Okay. What is the usage of add instruction? If you want to be copy from, if you want to be copy the file from your local to container within the container, right? That within the image, right? What you can do, you can use the add instruction. You can copy that file, directories, anything, tar file, zip file, anything. Okay. And one more thing, remember, when you use the add instruction here, if you copy the tar file, right? Tar file, zip file, anything, right? When you go to the inside the container, it will be automatically extract. It will be automatically extract. Okay. Understand, right? If you use the add instruction within the image, right, it will automatically extract. Okay. Clear. Now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to open this. And before going to do open this, right? Just give the ll command. And here you can see that we have index.html. We have a mam.tar file. Both I have already created. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to VAM insert mode. Here you have to remember when you use Nginx, default Nginx path is user slash, this is the path. Let me show you that. This one, user slash share slash nginx slash html. So this is the default path of the particular nginx. Now what I'm going to do, whatever we have index.html, I'm going to copy to user share slash nginx slash html. If you go here, here you can give it add instruction, and then here I'm giving that index.html. In this particular index.html, it contains the information about index, guys. Share about that particular HTML script. Okay, user share nginx slash html. Okay, now we have given that this particular whatever add instruction, it will be copy that whatever we have index.html in your local server, it will copy to user slash share slash nginx slash html. Again, I'm repeating, this is the default path of nginx inside the container for this particular nginx image. Okay, fine. Now we can save this one. Now you've done this. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to run it again. Docker build dot -t nginx :250. Okay, now we can enter now. If you see here you can see that total we have a 7 finished one. If you see here catched one 1/2, second one is it is coming from index.html. Here, if you observe here it is showcasing the 7/7. The reason, right? The reason, if you go and check it here, not this one, sorry. This one catched one, right? 2/2. 2/2 is coming. The reason, right? Here we mentioned that index.html. You can ignore that 7/7. Ignore that one. And here you can see that, right? Author, the particular add instruction, we mentioned index.html, right? Whatever we mentioned here you can see that it is copied to user share slash nginx slash html. Clear, right? Any questions here? Any questions? Now it is done. We have added. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add it another one, that is the maven.tar file. I have downloaded that Maven version, Maven tar file, and renamed to maven.tar. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this to the inside the OPT directory. Then once you run the container, I will show you whether it is extracted or not. As I said earlier, add instruction. If you want to be copy the file directory, tar file, zip file, anything from local to inside the container, the particular inside the image and container, right? We'll be used add instruction. But add instruction advantage is, if you have a tar file in your local, if you're trying to copy to the destination, that is inside the container, what will happen, right? It is automatically extract. Whether it will extract or not, I will show you. Okay, for that one, I'm taking the tar file. If you see here in this particular tar file, tar-tvf, just I'm checking that whether we have or not. If you see here, there are multiple files or directories. This is related to Maven, guys. Tar file, it is contain the Maven. I'm showcasing that Maven tar file. Okay. Now here you can go here. I'm going to the Dockerfile, insert mode, and here I'm giving that. Again, I'm giving the add instruction on maven.tar. This particular maven.tar, I'm going to copy to OPT directory. Now what is happened, right? Once you run the container from this particular image, what is happened, right? Whatever maven.tar file in our local, we have a maven.tar file, right? The particular tar file, it is copied to the OPT directory, but it will be extract. It will be extract in the OPT directory. Okay. Now you can go here. Just run this one. Again, run this docker build command. Docker build dot -t nginx :250. Now if you see here, total we have a 3/3. Okay. Clear, right? Fine, super. Now we have done this one. Well and good, super. Now what I'm going to do? I'm going to do copy instruction as well. Copy, add instruction, both are same only. Only major difference is in add instruction, if you have a tar file, it will be extract to the destination. But if you use the copy instruction, if you have tar file, just it will copy the tar file. It won't be extract. Okay. Now insert mode, and here I'm giving that copy. Example, I'm copying that Murali file. Just here you have to give the capital letter, guys. Copy. I'm copying that Murali file to the OPT, not OPT, root directory. Okay. Root directory. Okay. Now again I'm giving that copy section, copy, and then here, whatever we have a Murali file, right? Maven.tar file. Maven.tar, I'm going to copy to temp directory. Now I will show you after running the container whether add instruction extracted or not, whether copy instruction just is copied or not. I will show you the differentiation. Okay. Now you can save this one. Go here. Now I'm going to run this docker build command, docker build dot -t nginx colon. If you see here, I'm trying to copy Murali file. Now here it is throwing that error, Murali not found. The reason in my local, we don't have a Murali file. That's why it is throwing the error. Now what I'm doing here, right? Touch command, I'm giving that Murali. Now if you see here, ll command, we have a Murali file. Earlier it was throwing the error like Murali not found. That's why it is not copying. It is immediately throw the error, and also it is showcasing that where exactly issue. Okay. Now here can go with, again you can go with mbed build, docker build. Here you can see that 4x5 and also 5x5 as well. Clear, right? So now you got to understand how do we copy that file from local to remote. That is inside the container. Okay. The particular Docker image. Fine. Now what is the next one? Now we have done this. Add instructions we have done. And one more thing, guys. Inside this, I wanted to show you, right? Inside the index.html, we have this one. That welcome to my Nginx, the particular hello from custom Nginx container, just information is there, HTML file is there. Okay, fine. Now what is the next one? This one also is done. Very good. Now run command. If you want to be run any packages, right? You can use the run command. Example, if you want to be update the package, if you want to be install any curl command, VAM, some other things inside the container, we can do this one. Remember, you may ask question, Murali, here you use apt get. Shall I use the m command? No. The reason, right? Depends on you choose the image. Example, you choose the Nginx image. Nginx image is built in Debian. That is Ubuntu. Okay. Debian and Ubuntu both are almost. Okay. Here, this Nginx is the Debian. So that Debian, it will work only apt get commands, not the m commands. That's why we need to declare here. And one more thing, here you mentioned that apt get update, apt get install, and apt update. If you see here, I mentioned that in the same line, I'm declaring all the commands. If you declare this one, right, it will be considered as a only, it is considered as a only one, it is considered as a only one layer. But instead of declaring like this, if you declare like this, example, if you declare like this, run apt update, run apt install. If you mention like this, right, it is considered as a 3 layer. Usually, when you're writing the Docker file, wherever it is applicable, we need to write the single line so that it will be reduce the layers. It will be reduce the Docker image size as well. It is reduce the Docker image size as well. Example, what I'm going to do, first I'm declaring this one. Okay. Just run this one. Run apt update, it will update that, install, it will be installed, clean the specific packages, it is going to be clean, unnecessary ones. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, here I'm going to declare this inside the Docker file, VAM Docker file. Okay. Now you can enter here. Now we have done this one. Instead of declaring 3 run command, what you can do, you can run it single. You can do that particular one, and then you can do that. First, I'm declaring this one. Let's see what exactly happened. Okay. Now you can go here. Now I'm giving here Docker build dot -t nginx colon 2580. Okay. Now you can build this one. If you see here, it is going to build this one, run, update, install curl command VAM, and also it is installing the, I will clean the particular one. Okay. Now it is created. Here we can see that 8 by 8, it is also fine. Now you can go here, Docker images. Now if you observe here, that image size is 274 MB. 274 MB, the latest image when you define this particular one, whatever we mentioned this. Instead of declaring like this, what you can do, we can also declare like this. Now what is happened, right? It will be reduce the layers. As I said, if you define anything inside the Docker file, each one it will consider as a one layer. It is considered as a one layer. But here, instead of declaring, earlier we declare 3 layers, right? Run update one is one instruction, run update install one, run clean one, right? So instead of declare one, what you can do, we can declare in the same line. Highly recommended to declare like this instead of declaring individually. Okay, it will be reduce the layers as well. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to the Docker file. Instead of declaring 3, right? What I'm going to do, first I'm deleting this 3. Okay, now we can go here. Now you can paste here. Okay, now you can go ahead and run this one. Earlier it was, if you see here, earlier we have 8 layers. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to build it again. Let's see. It is considered as a only one. If you see here, everything's happening, run update, everything is happening. It is considered as a only one layer. That's why it is showcasing that 6 by 6. Earlier we have a 3, 5, 6, 6, 7, 8 we have, but we mentioned that this command, we mentioned that this particular command, right? This particular instruction. So it is considered as a only one layer. The particular layer only it is happened. Okay, fine. Now you can go ahead and check the images, Docker images. Docker images. If you see here, the particular size also 274 MB only. Okay, the image is just now created. The size also 274 MB. Understand, right? Understand, right? Fine. Now we have done this one. Very good. Everything's completed until run instruction. What is the next command? I'm going to use the env. Env is nothing but if you want to be set the environment variable, we'll be use the env. When you use the env instruction, as I said earlier, when you use the env instruction, it is available during the build time, and also during the build time it is available, and also container running time also, runtime also it is available, the particular whatever you are setting up the environment variable. Example, what I'm going to do, I'm going to site underscore dar. I'm mentioning that site underscore dar. I'm mentioning that user share nginx/html. This is the path I'm going to set it. Environment variable, I'm going to set this particular one. Again, I'm repeating env instruction. It is available during the build time, and also it is running the container running time also it is available. Now what I'm going to do, just copy this one, env site underscore dar user share nginx html. Now you can go here, vam Dockerfile. Now you can insert mode. Okay, enter. Now I'm giving here env. Okay, now you can go here, this part, save it. Yeah, Docker build dot hyphen it, sorry, Docker build dot hyphen t nginx colon 250. So whenever you build that image, right, during that time it is created new image. Now you can go ahead and check it, Docker images. If you see here, new image, 2 minutes. Okay, so here we mentioned that env, right? Even it is not not creating any new image, that instruction. Okay, usually, right, as I said earlier, Docker 20 version, even though if you mention that env, it is considered as a one layer, the particular layer, it was created the new image. But if you use here, right, in the Docker 25 version, if you use the env, if you use the maintainer label and arguments, right, those are, it is not considering as a layer. Okay, clear. Now if you see here, go ahead. Now it is done. Now you can go here. Now remember one thing, when you run the container, during the container runtime, it is available, the env, whatever you mentioned, maintainer, anything, it is available, guys. Okay, the particular env instruction, whatever we mentioned, right, site underscore url, the particular directory. So everything is available. I will also show you later sometime. Okay, only thing is building time, it is not. Okay, fine. Now here you can see that this part is clear, and arguments also I'm going to declare. If you go here, go to here, even argument also, sorry, Dockerfile insert mode. Okay, now here I'm going to declare this arguments. You can save it here, Dockerfile build dot. Okay, here also is fine. If you see here, catched one, it's taking, everything's clear. Now what is the next one? What is the next one? Here also same, guys, arguments, right? Again, I'm repeating, what is the major difference? Arguments is available only during the image build time only. It won't be available container runtime. But env is available during the build time and also container runtime. Both it is available. Okay. Now, what is the next one is expose command. What is the expose instruction? If you want to be expose the port number, default, right? Nginx, it is running in the port number 80. In case if you want to be change the port number, what you can do, you can use this particular expose 8080. The particular container port number, if you want to be exposed, right? Instead of running the 80, if you want to be change it, what you can do, you can give the using expose command. Okay. Using expose command, expose instruction, we can change it. Example, what I'm going to do, go here, Dockerfile, and then here insert mode. And I'm giving here expose, and here just example, I'm giving the 80 only, same only. Okay. Now you can go here, save it. Now you can build that one. Now if you see here, building also, the particular expose also, it is not taking any layer one, consider as, okay, fine. Now you can go here. Now you can go ahead and check it images. Okay, 5 minutes back only, it is not created any new image. Okay, fine. What is the next one? And volume. If you want to be set up any volume, right? What you can do, you can use volume/opt. Now what is happening, right? I'm going to mount this particular path. Now when you use this volume/opt, inside once you run the container, right? Inside our server, it will be having that volume name. Inside the volume net, whatever we have /opt directly, everything it will come. Okay. Understand? Everything it will come. Instead of opt, what you can do, you can mention this part. You can mention this part. Okay. Volume / this particular one. Okay. Now you can copy this. VAM Dockerfile. Go to the insert mode. Here you can mention this. Okay. user share nginx/html. Okay. Now you can go here. Remember, as I said, one more thing. We have a shell form and executable form. Whatever so far I have explained, right? Everything will be used the shell form only. Only will be used the executable form for CMD and entry point. Remaining all 99% will be used shell form only. Okay. Now here you can go with the Dockerfile, Docker build dot, and here you can see that same only. Still, if you go and check it here, Docker images, still existing one only. Okay, it is not created any new image when you updated this one, because when you run the container on the right, during that time it is available. Okay. Next one, very most important, workdir. What is workdir? Working directory. If you want to be set the working directory, what you can do inside the container, if you want to be set the working directory, what you can do, you can use workdir/user/nginx/html. Now what is happened, right? When you give this one, okay, it is switched to this particular path. After, if you give any commands, it is available in this particular path only. Example, I will tell you. Okay. Just you can give this workdir, working directory. I'm setting up the working directory. Instead of every time giving like this. Example, if you see here, add instruction, I have given this one, right? Instead of giving this directly, right? What you can do, just first we will be set up the workdir. And then example here, I'm using add instruction. Okay. Here, I'm adding the Naresh file to just dot. If you see here, I'm giving the dot. What exactly happening? Dot means, what is the exact meaning of dot? If you see here, workdir, we set up that this particular path. Now it means I'm inside the container, this particular path I have set. Now I need to copy this particular Naresh file inside this HTML. Then what you can do, instead of giving this entire path, what we can do, right? Just you can give the dot. Dot means I'm already in the working directory. Working directory means here it is available. Just instead of giving this entire path again, just to give the dot. That is fine. Okay. Now enter. And also next one. Next one. Here we have a CMD as well. And if you see here, before going to do, we don't have a Naresh file, right? Just you can create the Naresh file. Example, guys, I'm creating Naresh file, Murali file, Suresh file like that. But in reality, in real time, we'll be copy the files, Nginx related files, some other files will be copy. Okay. Now we have done this. I'm giving the touch Naresh file because when you are copying, right, first that file should be existing in your local. Okay, that is available. Now I'm giving that Docker build dot -t Nginx : 2580. Example, I'm giving this. Okay, now if you see here, whatever added, right, it is extra layer, that is workdir, everything's there. Fine, super. Now what is the next one? add work diary we did. After work diary, I use the add instruction. Just instead of giving entire work diary path, just I give the dot means I am already in the working directory. Okay, clear. What is the next one? Next one, here we can see that CMD. CMD can declare, as I said, right? CMD we can declare either shell form or executable form, but I highly recommend shell form or executable form only. Say CMD entry point or will be use the executable form instead of declaring the shell form. Executable form is nothing but like this, open close, we will be declare. If it is shell form like this, we'll be directly declare that like this. Okay. And coming to the CMD, here you have to remember inside the Docker file, we'll be declare only one CMD. First thing you have to remember, inside the Docker file, we'll be declare only one CMD. First thing, clear, right? Second thing is, if we declare more than one CMD inside the Docker file, whatever latest one means last one, it will be run. Remaining will be ignored. What I mean to say, inside the Docker file, I have declared two CMDs. Whatever last one, right? Last one means whatever declare last one, it will be execute. Second thing is, in case if you want to be override this particular CMD value, we can during the Docker run command, we can directly define that whatever running the defining the running time, right? That those value will be pick up. Those value will be pick up. Okay. Example here we mentioned that nginx -j daemon off. Okay. And here you can see that entry point that docker-entry point.sh. We mentioned that entry point and CMD. And CMD entry point same only. Functionality was same. Only difference is if you use a CMD, inside the CMD, inside the Docker file, we can declare only one CMD. If you declare more than one CMD, it will be pick up only latest one. And also during the Docker run command, it will be override. If you want, you can mention that it will be override whatever we mention inside the Docker file. Example, sleep 200 you mention inside the Docker file. But when you are running the Docker run command, right, during that time sleep 300 value only it will take. Coming to the entry point, inside the Docker file, we can declare many entry points. Okay, many entry points. In case if you declare Docker during the Docker run command, right, it won't be override. It will be execute as it is. It will be execute as it is. Understand, right? CMD and entry point. Example, I'm declaring here CMD1. Just copy this one. VAM Docker file, insert mode. CMD I'm declaring, enter, and also entry point also I'm declaring. Entry point CMD mostly will be declared last, guys. Okay, once written entire Docker file, in the last, if you want to be stored that say nginx, if you want to be restore that particular whatever, we can declare. If you want to run the specific Python script, it will be declare CMD Python mypython.py. Example I'm telling. Okay. Okay, super. Now we have declared. Now I'm going to build it again. Docker build dot -t nginx :2580. If you go and see it here, right? It is added everything. CMD also, it is not created any new image. If you go and check it here, Docker images, and here you can see that 3 minutes back only. Okay, it is done. Now, final thing is user instruction. User instruction, usually, example, we are taking that nginx. Nginx is running in the default root user. In case if you want to be run this particular nginx in the different user, what you can do, right? You can use user instruction. User instruction, you can mention username. User instruction, you can mention username and group name, UID, group ID, we can mention it. Okay. If you want to be switched to, instead of running in the root user, if you want to switch running in the different user. Example, username. Example, nginx user. I'm telling. Okay. Sonar user, Jenkins user, Tomcat user. Example, I'm telling. Okay. But when you use this particular user instruction, first of all, you have to remember in your mind that whatever you are mentioning the user should be already exist. User should be already exist. What exactly this user instruction will do? It will be switched to specific user. Okay. If you want to be switched to specific user, the user should be exist. Already that particular user should be exist. Then only this whenever you are running the container, right? During that time it will work. Example, you are giving that user nginx. You build the Docker image. Build is fine. When you are running the container, the particular nginx user not exist. Then it will throw the error like, hey, Murali, nginx is not there. That's why the container is not able to running. Okay, clear, right? Fine. This one example, username. this particular one, right, depends on our use cases, especially when you are build the Docker image for Jenkins. Okay, we will be declare that user is Jenkins. Okay, and depends on our choose the particular Docker image, it will be decide specific one. Okay, and automatically use the particular Jenkins user. It is already there, so it will be work. If it is not, what you have to do, we need to create the Docker Jenkins user inside the Jenkins file only. We need to write it, create the user, and then switch to the particular user. Okay, using run command, we can do that. Clear, right? Any questions? So these are the instructions available inside the Docker file. Again, I'm repeating, from instruction, it is a base image. If you want to be declared, example, we mentioned that nginx latest. First, it will check your local. If it is not available, it will go and take from Docker Hub. Second thing is maintainer. It is deprecated. And label, if you want to be declare the labels, we can declare it. Labels is nothing but metadata information about the particular Docker image. And add instruction, we can declare if you want to be copy file or directly. If you want to be copy the tar file, it will automatically extract in the destination. And copy instruction also same. If you want to be copy from source to inside the container, we can do that. Only difference is in the copy and the add instruction. If you have a tar zip file, it will extract in the destination inside the container. But if you use the copy instruction, just it will be copied. Okay. And coming to the run instruction, if you want to be run any commands, example, you can run this one. Instead of running individually, what you can do, we can run all the commands in the single line. Okay. Then it will be reduce the layers as well. And here we mentioned that env. If you want to be set the environment variables, this particular when you use the env, it is available both during the build time and also running time. The container runtime also it is available. And argument, it is only available during the build time only. Expose command, if you want to be expose the port number, default nginx port number is 80 only. In case if you want to be change the container port number, different port number, what you can do, you can mention here. Okay. And then work the volume, if you want to be set the specific volume on, and here I mentioned this one. And then once you run the container, right, inside our local server, it will create the inside the Docker volumes, varlib Docker volumes, we can see that particular volume is created. Okay. And work it here. And if you want to be set the working directory, you can do this one. Once you've done this one, right, after add instruction, I have showcased that narrative file. Just I gave the dot means I was already in the working directory. Dot means the file is copied to this particular nginx HTML. Okay. And cmd and entry point, if you want to be run any commands, you can do that. Only difference is cmd inside the Docker file, we can declare only one cmd, and the entry point we can declare multiple one. And cmd, if you declare more than one cmd file, cmd instruction inside the Docker file, whatever the latest one, it will be pick up. And entry point, no, you can declare multiple. And cmd, we can I mean to say like a Docker run command. During the Docker run command, we can pause that. Whatever we are mentioning the Docker run command, that will be override. I mean, it means it will be pick up that particular value. But entry point, it won't. It won't be override. It will be as it is. It will be run inside the Docker file, whatever we mentioned. Okay. User instruction. If you want to be switch the specific user instead of running the root user, some other user, you can use this particular user instruction, but the particular user should be exist. Okay. And one more thing, remember, one of the most important, whether you really worked or not, they can easy to know. Usually, our practice purpose, we are taking the from instruction is nginx. But when it comes to the real time, any of the application, any of the microservice, right? What we will do, instead of downloading the base image from Docker Hub directly, what we will do, first we'll be write the Docker file. We build the Docker image. The particular Docker image will be pushed to either AWS ECR or either Docker Hub. Example, instead of declaring how it will be there, example, you are your organization or your organization using Docker Hub. Okay. Initially, you will build the Docker image. You will be pushed whatever customized image you push to Docker Hub. The particular Docker Hub, example, you are working the techworld with Murali company. It will be like this: techworld with Murali. Okay. /nginx. Okay. Colon. Example, you are using 2580. Okay. And then we'll be take the from images instead of using that Docker Hub image. We'll be take our customized image, Docker Hub image. Okay, understand, right? Instead of declaring nginx, nginx means it will be check in your local. It is available. It is not available. It will be fetch from Docker Hub, but in real time. any of the microservice, any of the application, if they are writing that Docker Hub. Okay, example I'm telling here, techworldwithmurali. Techworldwithmurali is the organization name in the Docker Hub. Later we'll discuss, and slash nginx a repository name colon what is the tag version. Okay, this one example similar guys. Example, you have a JDK 11. Okay, what you can do here, we can mention that JDK 11. Base images, we are taking the JDK 11. Instead of taking from Docker Hub, right? We'll be put the Docker image to the Docker Hub, and then we'll be do that. You may ask question, why Murali? The reason one thing is, if you use the nginx colon latest one or nginx colon specific version, the particular version currently it is available. In future, after 3 to 4 years or 5 years, that particular tag might be deleted from their end. Then it will be impact, right? Instead of that one, what you will do, right? From this particular image, will be build the Docker image. The particular Docker image will be pushed to Docker Hub. And then from the particular image, base image will be taken, and then we'll be write the Docker file. Okay, clear, right? Example, I have showcased this here, Docker Hub related one. If you have a AWS ECR base image, we'll be declare that AWS ECR base image only. Okay, initial build the Docker image. Yes, we'll be take the Docker Hub image only. Later, we'll be push that our customized image. From there, again, we'll be write the Docker file. Okay, clear, right? Any questions now? Any questions now? Now I hope understand, right? So this is the process of creating the, writing the Docker file, and also I have showcased that all the Docker file instructions. Now later I will show you whatever we have defined that particular Docker file instructions, right? Example, add instruction, tar file, whether it is extracted or not, add instruction, whether it is copied or not. Everything I will show you later sometime. Okay, this video especially for how to write the Docker file. Next video especially for whatever we have written the Docker file, we will be run as a container. Will be verified really it is available or not. Really whether it is available or not. Okay, clear, right? Any questions now? Any questions now? One of the most important guys, Docker file, writing the Docker file. If you say I'm not aware writing the Docker file, no one will hide you. The reason in real time as a DevOps engineer in our DevOps tools also will write the Docker file for any microservice application also. Sometimes in case a developer, if they might not be aware how do we write the Docker file, they may reach out to DevOps team. We have to help them. Okay, and I will also show you in the real-time Docker file later sometime. Especially this video, I have showcased that all the instructions, where exactly will be used it, how it will happen, everything. Okay, clear, right? Any questions now? Now we are going to discussing about writing a Docker file part 2. Earlier we saw that, right? Part 1, Docker file, writing the Docker file, and also I have showcased that all the instructions, right? So what you can do now, whatever we have written that example here, I'm using the Docker file, and this is the Docker file, and also we have created the Docker image as well. If you see here, Docker image also we have created, that is the Docker image nginx tag is 2580. Now what we can do, we can run this, from this image, we can run the container, and we can go to inside the container. We can verify whether this particular add instruction is added or not, whether it is tar file, right? Whatever we have tar file, it is extracted or not. Everything we can check it so that you will get some idea. So here, first thing, volume, right? If you go and check it here, I have duplicated the same server. So I wanted to showcase that easily. That's why I have taken the duplicate one. First, I'm checking here, Docker volume ls. If you see here, currently, we don't have any volumes related to the particular Docker. Now, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to run the container, Docker images. If you see here, we have a specific image. If you want to be run the container, what you have to do, we need to use the Docker run command. What you have to do, you need to use the Docker run -itd. I is nothing but interactive mode, T is nothing but TTY mode, D is nothing but detached mode. Detached mode is nothing but the container will be run background. Okay, understand that? And here you need to give that your image ID. I'm giving here. In case if you want to be set the container name, -hyphen name, and you can give the container name. If you're not giving any specific name, right, what will happen, right? It will create the specific default name. It will be generate the particular container. Okay, again I'm repeating, Docker run -itd, and we are giving that image ID. Now what will happen, right? It will create the container. If you see here, container is created. This is the container ID. Now how do we check it whether container is running or not? Now you can use docker ps command. When you use the docker ps command, here it will be display whether the container is running or not. Whether the container is running or not. If you see here, container ID, image ID, which command is used to run the container, and when it was created, what is the status, what is the port number, what is the name of the particular container. As I said, right, if you're not mentioning any container, right, it will give the default specific name. Clear, right? Any questions this one? Fine. Now what you have to do, we need to go to the inside the container and we need to be verified one by one. Okay, we need to be verified one by one. Before going to inside the container, if you see here, we gave that entry point, right? Entry point, we gave this particular docker f1 entry point.sh. That's why here you can see that this using this command only, it is running this particular container. Now I'm going to inside the container. For that one, docker exec. Using docker exec command, we can go to the inside the container. Docker exec -i. Okay, it. Don't give the d. If you give the d, it will go to the daemon. So just give the docker exec -t -it. I is nothing but interactive mode. T is nothing but TTY mode. And then here you need to give the container name. Just I'm giving the container name here. And then space, you can give the bash or bin bash or sh, whatever. Okay, I'm giving the bash. Now you can enter. If you see here, I'm inside the container. Root is the user @ container ID. And as I said, if you use the nginx, if you use this particular nginx, right, base image is nginx, the particular default path is user share nginx html. Currently I'm in this particular path only. Now you can give the pwd, and if you see here, currently I'm in the user share nginx html. Understand, right? How do we go to inside the container? Fine. Now you can give the ll command. Usually inside the command, inside the container, ll command, it won't work. You can give the ls command. If you see here, ls command, we can go one by one. First thing, add instruction, right? In add instruction, what we did, we gave that index.html, we copied to user share nginx html. If you go and check it here, right, I'm in this particular path only, and here I'm able to see that index.html. I'm able to see the index.html. Clear, right? And also if you want, you can see the content as well. Whatever we mentioned, that everything is there. If you see here, content is available. Understand, right? Any questions now? Any questions? Okay, what is the next step? If you go here, go to that Dockerfile only. Go here. Next one, add instruction. We use the maven.tar file. We copy to /opt. As I said, if you use the add instruction, if you have any tar zip file, right? If you go to the inside the container, it will be extract. It means go to the inside the opt directory. Whatever maven file is extracted or not, we can verify. Okay. For that one, we can go to the inside the container here. I'm going to the inside the container /opt. And if you see here, currently in the opt directory, now you can give the ls command. If you see here, whatever we gave the maven related tar file, right? It is extracted. Here you can see that Apache-maven-3.9.9. If you go inside the directory, here you can see that all the maven related one. Understand, right? Any questions now? Any questions? Now clear, right? Second point also, prove that if you use that particular add instruction, if you have any tar file, it will be extract. Okay. What is the next one? Copy instruction. If you use the copy instruction, whatever we have, Murali file, whatever you have Murali file, we are going to copy to root directory. Whether it is copied to root directory or not, we can verify. For that one, you can go here, cd/root. Okay. Now if you see here, I'm in the root directory. Now you can give the ls command. Here you can see that Murali file is also copied. I use the copy instruction. Using this particular copy instruction, I have copied that particular Murali file. Okay, awesome. What are the next we have given? We gave that copy instruction, that is maven.tar file. As I said, in the add instruction, if you copy that tar zip file in the destination inside the container, it will be extract. But if you use the copy instruction, whatever we have a tar file, just it will be copied to the destination. Where it will be copied? Inside the temp directory, just it is copied the tar file. It is not, it won't be extract the tar file when you use the copy instruction. Understand, right? Now you can go to the temp directory. I'm going to the temp. Now here you can see that maven.tar file. Maven.tar file. Understand, right? tar file here. Any questions now? Any questions? Fine. Now here clear, this part also clear, and we use run this particular run instruction to run the commands. And next one, env. We use the env, right? Env, as I said, if you use the env instruction, whatever you are mentioning key value, okay, whatever we mention this key value, environment variables, it is available during the build time and also container running time. When you use the env instruction, it is available during the build time and also running container time, it will be displayed. Now, if you go and check it here, if you go and check it here I'm giving that env. If you observe here, when you give the env, here we can see that environment variable related to site underscore dir. This is the env related one. Okay, understand, right? It is available both build time and also container runtime. Any questions now? Now, what is the next one? If you go here, this is one of the most important. Arg. Arg is nothing but similar to environment variable only. But the only difference is if you use the arg, it is available only. It is available only during build time only. It won't be available running container time. That's why if you go and check it here, env, currently we don't have any app version. If you see here we mention that the specific version, the version is not available in this particular environment variable. Understand, right? Clear, right? Any questions now this? And we expose the port number is 80. That one we already saw that docker ps command there it is gave that port number is 80, right? Fine. And the volume is, now you can go here. Now you can go check it here. I'm checking here docker value ls. If you see here, earlier we don't have any value. Now if you check docker volume ls command, here we have one volume is created. Inside the volume, whatever we path mention, right? Whatever we path mention, right? This particular path is mounted to, mounted to our local. It means even though if you delete the container, that data is available, persistent data is available in your this particular volume. It is automatically created. So it is given that a specific random name. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to that particular, whether it is there or not. For that one, cd var lib docker volumes, and here you can see that volume name. Go to the d volume, and here you can see that underscore data. And if you see here you can see that whatever available inside the container, everything is mounted to this particular server. This is my server, guys. Outside of container, it is available. Okay, understand, right? If you use this particular volume, the specific path, this is the container part. The container part will be mounted to your server part. Server inside the server, not the path inside the server. It will be used the docker volumes. Inside the docker volume, it is available. Example, if you delete here, right? What will happen? It is automatically delete from inside the container as well. Inside the container as well. If you delete that from container, right? Automatically it will reflect here. What are the advantage of using volumes, right? Especially this volume, it will be maintain the persistent data. Even though if you delete the container, that data will be available in your local. Okay, understand, right? Fine. Now next one is add instruction narrates file. Here we mention the work dir is specific one. After we mention that add instruction narrates, dot means we already set the working directory. So inside the working directory, it will be copied to this particular narrates file. Okay, clear, right? Any questions now? Narrates file. Any questions now? Now you can go ahead and check it as well. I'm going to that particular part. User share nginx HTML. If we see here, ls command, and here you can see that narrates file also copied. Now you understood, right? So whatever we have written that Docker file, everything I have showcased, whether that particular files are directly available or not, whether it is extracted or not, whether environment variable is there or not, whether the volume is created or not. Once you run the container, the volume is created or not in your local, whatever container data is available or not when you given that volumes option. Okay, clear, right? Any questions? Don't worry, guys. This container related one, few more commands is there. We'll be discussed later sometime, especially this video to explain about how do we write the Docker file. And after written the Docker file, right, I wanted to show you whether the particular whatever we have written that everything is available or not. Okay, whatever I have explained, it is working or not. Okay, that's why I have explained everything. Clear, right? Any questions now? Any questions now? See, remember one thing, one of the most important, writing the Docker file. In real time, we always write the Docker file. Especially when you are writing the Docker file, we may not be use all the instruction. We may not be use all instruction. We'll be use one is the from instruction, and then add instruction, copy instruction, env instruction, and also run, expose command. Volume, very rare cases will be used. CMD and entry point will be used. Remaining are optional, but you should be aware of in the interview level. And also one of the most important question in interview level, one is what is the difference between add instruction and copy instruction? And also what is the difference between CMD and entry point? So these are the two major, and also what is the difference between env and arguments? These are the three major important questions when it comes to the Docker file. And also sometimes, right, in interview level, they may ask question, hey, can you please write the Docker file? Can you please explain what you have written in your organization, the specific Docker file? So you have to explain step by step. And also don't worry, in later sometime I will show you real-time Docker file, what exactly we will be having that, so that you will get some idea. Okay, clear, right? Any questions now? If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me via LinkedIn, Instagram, Telegram. And also we have Tech World with Murali website. In this website, I already publish all the DevOps related courses, DevOps, AWS, Kubernetes, Terraform, AWS networking, DevOps projects. Here we have 1 month, 6 months or near plans available. If you want, you can enroll here. Still, if you have any questions, feel free to comment. I will try to respond as soon as possible. Thanks for watching this video. We'll see you in the studio.